You may have seen recycled soldering iron tutorials somewhere on YouTube, but after watching them, you probably didn't find them particularly unique. That's because most of them use familiar materials and nearly identical building methods, making it hard to stand out. In this video, however, I'll show you a completely new idea that starts with nothing more than an old spark plug. Now let's get started. Here, I've prepared a short piece of electrical wire to connect the spark plug terminal to its metal body, allowing energy to flow from the power source to the soldering iron without interruption. This bypass connection creates a direct electrical path, minimizing energy loss during operation. As a result, the soldering iron can heat up faster, maintain a more stable temperature, and operate more efficiently. Next, I have prepared a longer single-core electrical wire to connect the spark plug to the intermediate component that links to the power source. This wire will act as a bridge, helping transfer energy from the power source to the spark plug in a stable way while making the assembly and use of the soldering iron more convenient. To ensure safety during use, I will use electrical insulation tape to wrap around the exposed electrical areas. This helps protect the contact points, reduces the risk of electrical leakage, and makes the connections neater and safer during operation. This is an alligator clip, and I will attach it to the other end of the electrical wire. This component will make the connection process easier and more flexible, while also providing convenience when removing, installing, or changing the connection position during use. Instead of directly holding the spark plug body with my hand, I will use this wooden clamp as a handle. This method makes handling more convenient while also creating a safer distance between my hand and the working part during the use of the soldering iron. Although it may look secure, it is still not strong enough. Therefore, I will use additional plastic zip ties to firmly secure the wooden clamp. This extra reinforcement will help keep the wooden clamp in place, prevent it from moving during use, and make the soldering iron operate more stably. Have you ever seen an AA battery being transformed into a homemade soldering tip? In this DIY project, used-up AA batteries become an extremely useful resource that can be repurposed for many creative ideas with almost no additional cost. If you find this method interesting and useful, you can consider trying and applying this approach to create your own unique DIY projects. This homemade soldering tip has now been completed, and I will proceed to secure it to the spark plug connector. This installation will help keep the soldering tip firmly in place, create a stable connection with the heating component, and prepare it for the next testing step. Luckily, I have a small trick to make use of the metal part inside an AA battery as a support material for the soldering process. When used properly, this metal layer can improve the contact between the soldering surface and the solder, helping the solder adhere more easily and reducing the chance of it slipping away from the desired position. For those who have used a soldering iron for a long time, they will clearly understand the important role of flux, as it helps clean the surface, allows the melted solder to spread more evenly, and create stronger and more stable solder joints. After separating the outer metal casing of the battery, I will cut it into small pieces and place them into a glass jar to prepare for the next step of making the solution. The final ingredient I add to the jar is toilet bowl cleaner. It may sound quite unusual, right? But let me explain. Some types of toilet bowl cleaners contain chemical components that can interact with metal surfaces. When combined at a 3:1 ratio, this mixture will support the preparation of a soldering aid solution for this DIY project. While the chemical reaction is taking place inside the jar, I will temporarily set it aside and allow the solution to continue reacting. During this waiting time, we will move on to the next step. I know that not everyone has a battery pack available to use. Therefore, in this project, I will show you how to take advantage of a standard Makita battery adapter base as the power source. And you can rest assured that adding two metal washers as intermediate connectors to the two sliding slots of the battery base will still allow the connection to work stably without affecting the usage process. In addition to connecting the recycled soldering iron assembly to the positive terminal of the power source, I will also add a connection tool for the negative terminal. This is a piece of electrical wire equipped with alligator clips on both ends, making the connection process more convenient and providing greater flexibility during assembly and use. A good recycled soldering iron is not defined by producing extremely high temperatures, but by its ability to perform the job it was designed for. The heat level needs to be sufficient to melt solder and create strong connections between small metal components, while still being controlled enough to avoid affecting or damaging surrounding parts. Therefore, instead of giving the result beforehand, I will let everyone observe how it performs in real use. As for the tests at the end of the video, I will not provide any evaluation, allowing you to judge the results yourself and share your personal thoughts in the comments section. So, the recycled soldering iron made from an old spark plug is now complete. Something that seemed useless has been transformed into a completely new tool with a little creativity and the right approach. That is the most exciting part of DIY. Not just creating a product, but turning familiar objects into unexpected ideas. If you find this project interesting, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And remember, sometimes the things that seem useless can become the most valuable when we look at them from a different perspective.